What is going on, everyone? Today, I just wanted to share with you my updates on what's going on with company stock Lucid Motors, ticker LCID. In the most recent weeks, we've been seeing the company share price plummeting, right? And what's really driving the share price to go down? I'll give you some source information on the overall stock news updates with Lucid's Q4 financial results, what this means as shareholders. Would this mean potential buy for the ticker? Will we see the share price continue to go down, or will we start seeing an uptick based on the current share price at this time? I'll dive deep into the numbers of what we see with the financial results and share with you the good and the bad results that we're seeing as investors of Lucid. Now, if you're new to this channel, I would really appreciate you providing the support, hitting the thumbs up, and subscribing for more related content where our goal is to make money, and let's make money with Lucid. Let's begin, guys. Now, first off, I wanted to share with you the overall technicals of Lucid's share price. As of the year to date growth percentage, it's up by about less than 40%, right? However, we know at one point it ran all the way up to like $17.80 multiple weeks ago, back when we saw the ramp up in January, right? When we heard about the news of Saudi Arabia, a potential investment firm buying out the remaining shares of Lucid, that's what really drove the share price. And in terms of just volume traded during that day, it was about 200 million shares traded. As you can see now, average volume is about 40 million shares traded per day. What's really driving the share price down here, right? Let's zoom in. Looking at it from a 1 month range, we see a 0.071%, so that's not so bad. But as we look here, we see a 20% reduction in the last 5 days alone, right? What was the driver of the share price to drop so low for Lucid Group here, right? I'll share with you some news. This really has to do with just the information that was released when the CEO Peter provided updates with Lucid's Q4 results. Investors were really not too happy, as well as analysts, right? In that the company's just overall, return on cash flow, it's continuing to fall short, right? As you can see here, Lucid on Wednesday reported fourth quarter revenue that fell short below expectations, as well as earnings per share. In fact, one of the key points here is that Lucid built 7,000 of its Air luxury sedans last year amid manufacturing challenges, but expects to make between 10,000 and 14,000 vehicles in 2023. And Lucid ended the year with about 4.4 billion in cash and roughly 500 million cash available via credit lines, enough to last until the first quarter of 2024. So what's really happening right now? The bad news is that there's not too much demand with Lucid vehicles, right? Production numbers are low, right? Over promising and under delivering. And what's happening is we're seeing the operational cost increasing, right? Which means there's more risks since there's more liabilities around the production here. Now, what the company forecasts is it's planning to make about 10,000 to 14,000 vehicles in 2023. And just with the numbers of loss per share of 28 cents, with the revenue being 2577 versus 303 million, that's really what just drove the overall price down when we look at actual and expected numbers forecasts. And Lucid's quarterly revenue marks a sharp increase from last year, when it had just begun production of Air Sedan and brought in 26.4 million. Now, while we continue to see an increase in revenue, right, this is good news, at least knowing that Lucid is still a developer. It hasn't matured its operational efficiencies, right? We're seeing improvements in Q4 alone based on the numbers compared to where it was before. So that's good news. However, just with market sentiment right now, we're seeing a lot of investors really focusing their investment decision on whether companies have positive earnings per share, increase in profit revenue. Those are the drivers for these investment decision makings, right? And Lucid said in January that it produced 7,180 vehicles in 2022, well below its original expectation that was what was forecasted, right? So here, what's happening is Lucid is forecasting numbers. However, its actual projections as we get towards present day, they're not able to achieve what they're promising here. And this is what really is driving investors to feel that uncertainty. Now, this is what Peter, the CEO, mentioned here, that their goal in 2023 is to amplify their sales and marketing efforts to get this amazing product into the hands of the customers around the world. Now, the good news with Lucid is that we know it's a quality product, right? It rates as one of the top vehicles when it comes to luxury vehicles hitting a different niche market here when we talk about the consumer population. However, let's say if you have vehicles in the parking lot awaiting to be shipped off, but there's not too much demand, right? That can really put a toll on just the profit margins that Lucid can take advantage of. Now, the company, one of the good things is that there's an agreement between Saudi Arabia government to produce about 100,000 vehicles in the next 10 years. So as we look at this into the long-term future, it's looking promising, right? However, let's say if investors are hoping for a huge return on investment in the near term, right? These investors are looking for quick press release information so that they can get the most out from their investment value. Now, overall, just to share with you additional source information, right? So this article here talks about the Q4 financial results, which led to more selling off the Lucid stock. And the goal here with Lucid, based on the analysis here, is that the company will have enough liquidity money reaching towards the end of 2024, right? And what would be the risk if production numbers get lower, liability numbers get higher, right? Where profit margins are impacted, right? The key aspect here is to continue to sell, right? So Lucid's main focus in this year is to minimize all of the supply chain constraints. That's what was the concern that Peter noted during the call on Wednesday, was that these numbers, the actual numbers of just production numbers, was really caused by just the supply chain issues, not being able to get components from suppliers, which led to the decrease in annual outputs with the car vehicles. Now, what's going to change, right? What's really going to drive Lucid's company share price up? It really has to do with just meeting these forecast numbers, right? Leading out the operations, right? We know, of course, given the fact that Lucid is a company that's up in the making, right? It's a startup. It would need to standardize its operations. How does it minimize costs, right? Those are the things that the company will need to focus on. But ultimately, the key point here, one of the good things that I see from this here, is that the revenue continues to increase here when we look at the numbers here, when we look at 2021 to 2022, right? And we look at it here from a horizontal view, 2021 to 2022. The downside here is the loss from operations, which is normal, right? Key thing is we want to keep it simple. Look to see if revenue is increasing, because if we see revenue increasing, we know that this company is in fact growing. However, how does that get impacted based on the operations and liability costs, right? That's the other aspect that Lucid will have to eventually problem solve as it becomes more of a mature company. Now, overall, What do I see here? I mean, just based on the information that was shared by the CEO, right? The main key aspect that he shared here is really just having problems around the supply chain and logistics challenges. And this year, the goal is to amplify sales, marketing efforts to get this amazing product into the hands of even more customers around the world. So whether Lucid continues to bolster its sales, maximizing studios all around the United States, as well in getting partnerships in the international countries, in the European based countries, as well as in countries like in Korea. So these are the initiatives that will help with ramping up Lucid. But for me, even though we see issues happening all across the board, there's definitely upside here, right? I mean, Lucid is continuing to step up its production, and we're beginning to see supply chain problems easing, as noted here by the New York Times here. The EV company has made more than 7,000 cars in 2022, achieving a scaled down target. But we know that as things begin to normalize, right, the expectation of increasing throughput in the year 2023 and 2024 will increase, right? And that's because of just what we've seen with COVID impacting, having part shortages. But as we look to see how Lucid and other companies will continue to ramp up, that's going to be the primary goal for this company if Lucid is trying to become one of the leading competitors against Tesla here, right? But what I see is that in the long term course, with partnerships with Saudi Arabia and with the support from Saudi Arabia public investment firm, Lucid has the potential to grow significantly, right? So they, from my perspective, will not go out of business. You're being backed up by one of the top countries. And for this reason, I believe that Lucid, it's just the beginning here, right? As we scale up here, right, based on time, we know Lucid at one point hit share prices of like $50 range. And will we continue to see Lucid at this low point here? I would say no. Although we don't have a magic 8 ball to look into the future to see what the share price value is, what goes down will eventually go up. And my perspective is be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. The pendulum right now is more on the fearful side. So let's be greedy. Let's take advantage of this, looking at this from a long-term perspective. You look at this here, you'd rather be investing here than investing at that top points here, right? So once it goes up, you take advantage, you win in this market, you maximize on positive return on investment, and let's make money with Lucid. This is one of the reasons why I'm considering loading up on more shares of Lucid. So that's my analysis. My forecasts, by the end of 2023, we're going to see Lucid above the 15 range. It's going to be possibly $20. I initially forecasted in the $45 range. I still remain bullish that that's a possibility because we still have many months to go in 2023 and the horizon is going to come. All right, so there you have it. That's my analysis of Lucid. I hope that this video gave you insight on where we are with this company, what's really driving the share price down. Will we continue to see more risk involved here, right? We just have to see, the company execute here, right? We don't know what the forecast will show, but I remain bullish and I believe that Lucid, this company stock, we can definitely make lots of money. So please make sure to hit the like and subscribe for more related content. And thank you for stopping by here at Invest with All I See Is W. Thank you, guys.